Welcome, Mike, to the No Excuses, No Bullshit podcast. Glad to have you here. How is it going?
Yes, all good, man. Glad to be on here. Thank you for the invitation. It's good to
Yeah,
connect.
you very welcome. Yeah, how was your day until now?
Yeah, it's been good. Woke up a bit later than anticipated this morning,
Yeah,
but I still got what I wanted to get done, which was writing some more of my newsletter, which will go out tomorrow. So yeah, I adjusted my schedule to accommodate for that. But yeah, it's good. Weather's good here at the moment. Well, the clouds have come out a bit, but it's the weather's nice. I'm in London, UK, so we're
nice.
getting better weather, which is good because it's not often that nice here,
Yeah,
weather-wise.
yeah. Same here in Vienna. Yeah, it's an up and down, like cold, warm, cold, warm. And I'm already looking forward to for the summer to arrive finally.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 so maybe we can just start with a small introduction of from your side. That would be
hmm
awesome.
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, my name's Mike Simon. I am a somatic coach. We can probably dive into that a little bit later. I've got a background in dance, having danced, yeah, since I was 11. So it's been a while. Whilst I'm not dancing professionally anymore, dance is very still much part of me. It will never go. But you know, life changes. So with
Yeah.
that, certain things shift. Um, I identify as kind of, you know, as a hybrid entrepreneur. It's a term that I've come across and sort of started to take ownership of. And what that means is that I work a full-time job as well as building my coaching business. And I'm doing so on X or Twitter, depending on which way you look at it. And yeah, that's how we connected via Twitter. And yeah, that's a bit about me. You know, born and raised in London, lived in Mallorca for a little bit, and then came back to London. Don't test my Spanish because it's rubbish. But yeah,
No
that's a bit
worries.
about me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm doing a similar thing on Access,
hmm
and so I know how it is to do all that stuff besides your 9 to 5.
Yeah,
You need some drive for that. You need some self-motivation and self-discipline, and you probably implemented some habits to ensure that you show up every day. And so that would be the first point for me.
yeah,
What are your habits? Like, how do you ensure that, for example, your newsletter goes out every week? So
yeah,
that would
yeah,
be
yeah. Well, for me, I don't send a newsletter out weekly, but I think it's an interesting bit to touch upon. Because when I first started the journey on Twitter like 15 months ago,
Mhm.
I don't think I started my newsletter at the same time, but it was around the same time. I saw everyone doing weekly newsletters and inspired to do the same. But then at the same time, I looked at what my capacity was and the reality of my schedule. And I didn't want to overshoot myself to commit myself to doing a weekly newsletter that wasn't given any value or that I couldn't keep up with the momentum. So I opted for a monthly newsletter. I'm considering changing that now that I've kind of got a flow. You know, I've got
Yeah.
a good, you know, about 100 subscribers on the newsletter. And I'm wanting to write more because I feel more comfortable and confident with my writing, and I've got a lot more that I want to share and experiment with. So I'm considering maybe doing a fortnightly or having the main monthly and just sending emails when I feel compelled to do so. So we'll see. But aside from that, for me, it's really about planning. I've definitely found myself in a situation many times where I've been scrambling to get the newsletter together. And one would think that with a month's grace, you've got plenty of time. But of course, everything is moving forward. You know, you've got
Yeah.
work, I've got clients in the evening, etc. So yes, you've got plenty of time. But if you're not planning your weeks and your days, it can creep up on you and kick you in the ass very quickly.
Mhm.
And so I would say habit wise, what I've gotten into doing a lot more over the last couple of months is planning my weeks. You know, on a Sunday, looking at what my week is looking like. I know that my newsletter, for instance, goes out on the first Sunday of every month, so I can work backwards from that. You know, and in addition to that is getting into the habit of capturing ideas throughout the weeks, so that I'm not just coming to the point of writing something and I'm like, what do I write about? I'm always capturing um, content ideas or information. And I've actually started building out a hub. It's going to be a free offer where it's like my way of capturing information, capturing inspiration, and labeling them that I can then use and transfer into long form content and
Yeah.
newsletter content, etc. So kind of to come back to the initial question, for me, habit wise is planning my weeks so that I know what I'm doing and I can slot things in blocks. And get into the habit of capturing content, not even content, capturing ideas that might be used for content because everything is out there. I had a conversation with my partner that could be content if I look at it from a particular, perspective. I met, in fact, he now lives in Vienna. I met a fellow creator this week. You know, that's a piece of content. So
Yeah.
it's like not only am I living those experiences and being like, oh, okay, this is interesting, and jotting it down with no judgment on Notion. Everything can be used to cultivate what is, your personal brand or the face of your business or your marketing, but ultimately relatable and authentic content. That's something that I'm really coming to realize a lot more is that before I felt like I kind of had to speak or share certain things, but the most relatable content is the authentic content, which is parts of you and your real life experiences and how you can then weave that into whatever it is that you might be offering. And yeah, it's been a journey. The last couple of months have really shifted for me in terms of clarity and who I'm desiring to work with, who I serve, and that has all played into the content that I'm writing and creating as well.
Yeah, very interesting. So the thing with gathering ideas, I also do the same. Just writing down ideas, but because I have also found myself, if I'm not doing that and I just say, okay, I have a writing session,
Mm.
what do I write? Like, what do
Yeah.
I write? Yeah. So I really, as soon as an idea pops up, I have a list where I just drop the ideas on my phone, and that's the easiest thing. And
Yeah.
also with do like posting authentic stuff, it's I think the best thing is also to share the hardships. That's what I have found that people like the most to know, like how do you solve the problems?
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of timing, because you also told about said something about your writing session on the weekend, like what is the
Hmm.
best time for you to be creative? Like also in terms of like time of the week and time throughout the day. That's also an
Yeah.
interesting point, I think.
Yeah. I would say mornings, but I would say even more specifically because over the last few weeks I've
Yeah.
revisited what my schedule has looked like
Mhm.
due to life circumstances that have kind of made me have to look at my schedule in a different way to be more flexible. And that's what the newsletter is about as well. And so for me, what I find is weekend mornings are they're like the golden hours.
Mhm.
There's a lot more spaciousness that is not easily distracted because during the week, I'm, going to the gym in the mornings because going to the gym after work is one, I might be quite tired and less inclined to go to the gym. But above that, that time is for when I'm working with clients because I don't want to be working with a client at 6 a.m. in the morning, a coaching client. I want to be fully present
Yeah.
to them. It's very relational. And at 6 a.m., that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Not for me anyway, right?
Definitely.
I'd rather
Yeah.
at that time I want to be in solitude. I want to be meditating or journaling, or I want to be in the gym. But again, for me, that's still, even though you're amongst people, it's still quite a space of like introspection because you're focused on what you're doing at the moment. I don't want to be in relationship with anybody in a coaching call. So for
Mhm.
me, writing definitely in the morning, but more specifically weekend, Saturday and Sunday, waking up at around 7 a.m., doing an hour, 2 hours. And then throughout the week, there's pockets of time when I've scheduled my week. I can see, okay, I've got a client on Monday evening, Tuesday evening, Wednesday and Thursday is free. So I know I can do some work in the evening. It may not be as focused due to like my mental attention
Yeah.
in the evening, but I can maybe read a book, which is maybe a little bit less exerting than writing or building something, you know, so I can gather, I can,
Get
you
that
know, I can
information. Yeah.
compile information in the evening. And I prefer to have output earlier on in the morning, personally, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, same for me. Like I prefer to work in the mornings since there is my
Mhm.
energy at peak, and after
Yeah,
my 9 to 5 I'm not that energized anymore to do any creative or stuff or build
yeah.
something. Also with the mobile app we already talked offline, like
Hmm.
do that stuff in the after my 9 to 5 is not possible. I just do it in the mornings. Usually wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. the latest,
Hmm.
and then do that stuff in the mornings. And
Yeah.
so I think what also would be very interesting is to know more about your coaching program.
Hmm.
That would be
Hmm.
awesome if you could.
Yes, sure. So as I said at the beginning, like the intro, I'm a somatic coach. Not many people have heard that title, or you know, but obviously I can explain. So the work I do is very holistic. You know, it's very inclusive of the whole, and meaning that it's your mind, you know, the body mind, your mind and your body. So somatic derives from the Greek word soma, which means of the body. So the work I do includes everything. It's not just about how you think, it's also about how you feel. And I, as a coach, hold space, guide, and support you to make contact, you know, to become more self-aware on both of those levels. So what it could look like in a session is inviting the client to make physical contact with themselves, self-inquire, be mindful in that space and check in with what they're saying and whether there's resonance or dissonance with how they're feeling on a deeper cellular level. And it's very powerful. It's very healing. You know, some clients come out kind of saying that they feel like I've just had a therapy session because of the depth that we're able to go to if that feels comfortable. That is beneath the consciousness. You know, it's going to that part lower, that deeper part of yourself where
Mhm.
it's not in your conscious awareness. And that is where a lot of the transformation happens. You know, we have beliefs that we're aware of, but we also have implicit beliefs that we're not aware of, that it's just, they're sitting there. And it's only when a light is shone on those areas
Mhm.
from a friend or someone supportive
Yeah.
or a coach that you can be like, oh, okay. And then so with these new insights that emerge, we can then work towards whatever the desired outcome is for the client, you know, and we're working in partnership. So I always say this, that my perspective of coaching, especially how I was trained as well, it's about co-creation. It's about working together. It's not about me being a coach and me knowing everything and me giving you the answers. It's about me holding space for you to inquire within and find the answers within yourself. I'm just holding the space, creating
Yeah.
the container along with you for that self discovery. And that is what I believe is what allows individuals to be, well, I believe we are resourceful already. We already know what the answers are, at least for the next step. But that, in my opinion, is what allows people to be able to move on and move forward without feeling like they need to hold on to this offering. You know, some people can be in
Yeah.
therapy for years. And I'm not saying therapy is a bad thing because I myself have gone to therapy, and part of my um, what's the word, sort of like part of my pillars for when I transition into full-time coaching is to be able to earn the money that I want so that I can have regular therapy and I can have regular coaching supervision to make sure that I'm consistently in integrity with the work that I do. So I'm a fan of therapy. And at the same time, I believe that some individuals get into a space where they have to keep going. They feel that they have to keep going back to therapy because they maybe haven't realized, not so much built, but realized that resilience and the capacity they have within themselves to be able to self inquire or self coach. So that's part of what what I do is to really empower individuals for them to realize, to be like, you can do this. You have the answers. I didn't tell you them. I've helped, I've guided, I've supported you, but you have the answers already within you. And it's within this space where we're able to co-create and feel safe enough, the client to feel safe enough to, kind of let down maybe some of those walls or explore the unknown, because there is a lot of that. It's in the unknown that the answers are found, that unlock the doors to where we want to be going towards, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, very experiential, very experimental. I can invite you into an experience. Can be quite playful, creative. So it's a big or small container for play, for work, for exploration that is helping you move towards where you want to get to. So that's what I do, and I on X at least anyway. I desire to work with hybrid entrepreneurs. Individuals that are working a 9 to 5,
Hmm.
that they're building a side business online. With the intentions maybe to transition to full-time entrepreneurship, but that might not always be the case. But
Yeah.
what often is the case is that they're finding it challenging. They're finding themselves encountering mental and emotional hurdles, and those are the things that are in the way of them getting towards the level of fulfillment they want in their life and business. That's where I come in, help you to bring awareness, like, what are these emotional challenges that you're feeling? um, or they might not even be aware that they're emotional. They might just be perceiving them as external and mental hurdles, but you project what's in outward. So
Yeah.
what you're seeing in front of you is an obstacle. In my opinion, quite often it's an internal obstacle, but you're perceiving it outside of you. And so by going inward, we can work to overcome what's here and embody that achievement, that acknowledgement, so that we can take it out into the real world and overcome that obstacle that we perceived out here.
That was a very good overview, and it sounds awesome. I'm a big fan, like, already. Like, we should probably have a session together sometime. That would be
Yeah, man,
awesome.
I'm here. Yeah.
And yeah, like, just one more question. Like, do you also do some group sessions, like, with people, or is it one-on-one? And what is the, like, how often do you have a one-on-one with clients? Is it every week, or every 2 weeks, or every month?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got a main offer, which is my body of work.
Yeah.
I don't like the word program, because I feel program alludes to the fact that I'm teaching you something, and that is not what I do. It's not to say that I can't, but the offering is not to teach you. However, I'm working on some things where it will be a bit more like that. But
Mhm.
there's the option for you to work with me for 4 months. I've got a like a framework that
Mhm.
I have that holds that 4 month container, almost like I like to refer to it as like a blueprint. We have like a deep dive 90-minute session before we even start the coaching session.
Awesome.
And this is like a triage, like a doctor kind of
Yeah.
goes in and looks. It's like that. That's kind of what I would compare it to. And here is when I start to bring in these pillars that I've got out of my framework. The first one being reveal. So we reveal what we want to work on during our time together.
Mhm.
Look at areas of your life that you would like to reconnect with. So that's in the first main session. And then we have the same session, but at the end of our time working together. And in that session, we predominantly look at refine. So what things have you uncovered during our time working together that you can now refine to implement into your life, your days, your weeks, your months, to work towards your desired outcome? And also, what are you going to reclaim? So, like, how do you now put in the information that you've gathered and the new insights into a personalized structure, framework, plan, intentions, whatever you want to call it and feels right for you, to actually start to work towards that even more. Of course, there would have been work done during the time we're working together anyway, but it's
Yeah.
more so a holistic casting our minds back to like, what work have we done together? Like a remembering. So that's the framework. 4 months. However, there is the flexibility. I think it's very important to follow the lead of the client. I could say, yeah, I think 4 months is for you, but that might not resonate,
Yeah.
for various factors. You know, Financially, the investment for the 4 months may not necessarily be accessible for you right now, and I'm okay with that. I'm not, on the Twitter space. Like what I came to find is there's this sort of like absolutes. Everyone seems to be quite absolute. You must do my 4 month program or you won't get results. I don't believe in that. I believe that there needs to be flexibility within reason. And I believe that it's about what's working in service of the client, not just what's working in service of my bank account, because that's not the work I'm doing.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
about, it's
That's not the
about,
goal.
yeah, that's not it.
Mm.
Being of service. Well, I think I tweeted, or maybe I've got it scheduled, like, be of service, the sales will come, right? Like, being of service first and foremost is so important, especially in the work that I do. I Yeah, I just think it's necessary to not be distracted by dollar signs or pound signs because you see that wavering over someone's head. It's a relationship that you're building at the end of the day. The sessions are weekly.
Mhm.
However, like I said, with the flexibility, that might be too much for somebody. And in our pre-call, if when I'm connected with someone to see if we are interested in working together, and if we both feel that it's a full body yes to work together, because that might not be the case,
Mhm.
at that point, you can start to identify and have the questions and be like, is weekly sessions valuable for you? May fortnightly be? Um, in addition to all of that, what I do think is important is a long-term journey.
Yeah.
Now, long term for someone might be 6 weeks, long term for someone else might be 6 months. But this work is not a quick fix. That's not to say that you won't come out of an hour session with me and feel a transformation. However, you also need to integrate those things that have emerged for you. And quite often, there's so many different um, paths and valleys that we've
Yeah.
explored together that it's unlikely for you to come out of the session and be able to integrate all of that straight away and be like, yeah, my life's changed. That's not the work we're doing here again. And because we're working with the body, um, what is it now? Basically there's nerves that we have. The names escape. Myelinated. We have different types of nerves, and the speed that the nerves, the myelinating nerves, go from the brain to the body is faster than that from the body to the brain. So when you're
Okay.
working with the body, you're working on a slower pace. When you're working with the nervous system, the pace is slower. When you're working conceptually, a lot of things are quite fast, which is why you hear people and they're
Yeah.
talking. When we slow down and we're present with our experience,
Mhm.
we can start to sense into how we're feeling. We can maybe
Yeah.
feel our heartbeat. We can maybe feel the breath. We can maybe hear things that bit more, right?
Yeah.
That's This is like as yeah, I can sense it in myself as
Yes.
we're
Mhm.
right. This is the space that we're operating in terms of coaching, my coaching. I can't speak for anybody else. In terms of the space that I'm operating in, it is this relational, this co-regulating space where, despite the fact that we are on laptops or PCs or our phone, and you're in Vienna and I'm in London, there's a connection, and we're able to work towards whatever that desired outcome is for you for the
Mhm.
session thereafter, and for the whole container.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Like really nicely explained. And yeah, we should definitely have a session sometime. And also, I just watched the time. We are already a little over.
That's gone quick.
Yeah, but was a very, very nice talk, and I think we should
Yeah,
definitely have a follow-up and maybe dive deeper in some topics for the
for
next
sure.
session. So really have a specialized topic and then and dive deeper into it. That would
Yeah,
be awesome if you're up for it.
I'm definitely up for
Yeah,
it, man. Let's get that scheduled in for sure.
awesome. I wish you a nice rest of the weekend, and yeah, hope to see you soon, man.
Yes, take care. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.